Everyone in the service industry has a story. Crazy customers, wild orders, and WTF moments. Do you want to start a tab? The podcast here to bring you those tales from behind the bar. My name's Carl, and I'm rusty.
I'm Riley, and I am also rusty.
Woo! So it's been a hot minute. I think 3 weeks we haven't recorded, or at least...
It might be more than that.
I guess we haven't released an episode in 3 weeks.
Right. It's been longer since we recorded.
Yep. So there's a lot of stuff going on in our lives. Obviously, because we're not choosing not to record.
Right.
But we have some exciting news that we can divulge later. And but I also want to do, I didn't even tell you this, but I want to do a Patreon episode because I haven't done any one of those forever.
Yeah.
And we talk about what we're getting into on that. So if you're curious, go to our Patreon. You can try it for 7 days if you want.
Right.
But on this lovely little podcast, what we like to do is read stories off the internet about the hospitality industry through the eyes of the guest or through the eyes of bartender, server, manager, whoever.
It's anybody in the interaction, really.
Right, anyone. And I can't wait to get like our first DoorDash story or something like that.
We just have to look for them.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying no one's ever written one, but whatever. And then we talk about it, discuss it. Should have been handled better. Was it handled perfectly? Who's the asshole? Who's the hero? Rate it 1 to 5. And that is what we do.
Yes.
We also like to drink beverages. And today we are drinking a cocktail I made last year, I think, or 2 years ago.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's called Bullet Train to Iowa. It's just an easy riff on an old fashioned. I use 2 ounces of Cedar Ridge bourbon. That's a local bourbon here in Iowa to us, and half ounce of Enchiladas chili, 1/4 ounce of Rich Demerara, and 2 dashes of Mole bitters.
Yep.
So if you want to find the recipe, I'll have a link to my website with it on there. I think I have 2 gnats in my drink.
That would not be surprising given it's summer.
Yeah.
In Iowa.
And it's protein, I guess. We are going to go to prom later, so we need all the protein we can get. Do you want to start out today?
Sure, I can start today. This comes from the Ask Reddit subreddit from the user Vecchio, and it was posted 12 years ago.
Longer than our relationship.
By a smidge, yeah. Bartenders of Reddit, what's your craziest story you have from behind the mahogany? I will start. I tend bar at an Irish bar in Minnesota. I tend to work weeknights because they aren't as busy as weekends, but I still make plenty of dough. Anyway, this was a Monday night, and it was late in the evening, so I was the only employee left working. The manager and other servers had gone home, and I was left alone with 8 to 10 of my regulars. In walked a young man who had clearly been overserved somewhere else. He sat down and tried to order a drink, but couldn't articulate what he wanted. I told him that all I was giving him tonight was water, and he actually was really cool about this and drank a few glasses while he sat at the bar. After a while, he asked if he could have a drink now. Kind of reminded me of a young child asking for a treat. I told him no, and he said, "That's cool. I'm just going to go home." I asked if he was driving, and he said, "Yep." And I told him I couldn't let him drive and that I would call him a cab. He said that was stupid, and he could drive home fine. I told him that if he got in the car, I was obligated to call the police. He snapped. He said, "You want to call the cops? Shit, I'll call the cops myself." He proceeded to dial 911 and hand me his cell phone. I spoke with the dispatch and explained what was going on. She actually laughed. While I was talking to the 911 dispatcher, the young man realized what was going on, and started asking for his phone back. I hung up with the dispatch and tried to keep the young man in the bar until the police arrived. He was getting very angry, so I finally gave him his phone back, and he ran out of the bar and climbed into his car, peeling out of the parking lot and through 2 red lights.
Oh, jeez.
2 seconds later, 4 squad cars came flying down the street and proceeded to pull him over. Kid calls the cops on himself, gets a DUI. Woof.
Yeah. Actually, we might have read that one. I don't know. If it does, it doesn't matter.
Like, I know I read it to you after the last episode, and you said that I had not read it. You were very adamant that I had not yet read that story.
Okay, so maybe that's what I'm remembering. So,
but I swear I read it.
So if this is the second time you guys heard that story, I apologize. But we're going to keep going with it because we can't remember. Anyways.
And my organization system has been lost.
Yeah.
And I need to go back through all of our episodes and redo it in a more economical way.
Yeah. All right. So this story, the bartender obviously did the best job he could with like, oh, I can't serve you. You're obviously so shit faced, but I'll keep plugging water at you, even though you didn't get shit faced at our bar.
Right.
But you know, that's the human thing to do. Hey, I'm going to keep you in here so you're not outside causing trouble.
Right.
Going to another bar where they might serve you.
Right.
And you're just feeding this guy water, hoping, you know, he'll kind of soberish up or be a person of reason and like say, cool, call me a cab.
Right.
Or an Uber or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But then like to be so drunk, like, I'm just going to call the cops because you won't let me drive home.
That absolutely sounds like a Carl Bush thing that
Shut
he would
the
do.
fuck up. Okay, maybe back in the day, but
Like, you tell me I can't do something and you're going to do something else. Well, watch, I'll do it myself. Absolutely is a Carl Bush
that
thing.
is humans in nature.
No.
Parents say don't do that and you go do it anyways.
Okay,
because
but like at some point your frontal cortex develops. And that's not a thing as much anymore
don't have
until
that.
you're Carl Bush. You don't have a frontal cortex.
Ding, no.
Fuck's sake.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it's funny then because like he realized, oh my God, I fucked up. Now I'm gonna run away. Skeet, skeet, skeet. And then, man.
I mean,
yeah, there's really not much to it. I mean,
I think that I'm going to start with rating the story. I think it's a 5
yeah,
because it's timing. And nobody has ever, in my knowledge, I mean, that's the first story I've heard of somebody calling the cops on themselves.
right,
And then it's like instant karma.
right.
I love instant karma.
I don't know any.
It's not exciting.
No. I was gonna make an analogy, but this analogy probably isn't right to say. But it's a statistic out there. They say so. Like he had instant karma, right? He said, "I'm going to do this thing," and right when it's happening, he's like, "Fuck me! I should not have said that or done that." They say there's a statistic like people who jump off the Golden State Bridge who survived. They all basically say, or a high percentage of them say, right when they take that first step, they instantly regretted doing it.
Right, instant regret.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I know that's like whatever. That's the only thing I can think of that. But you do. I mean, a lot of things in life. You do something instantaneously, like fuck. I wish I didn't do that.
Side note: if you're considering it, please talk to somebody.
Yes.
But circling back, I don't think he had that. I don't think that he immediately was like, oh shit, I fucked up. I think it came after the cuffs are slapped on him. So
Well,
somebody
he
did
said
it.
he his phone back when the bartender.
Oh,
he
you're
realized.
talking about calling.
Yeah, when he called the bartender.
I thought you were talking about him getting behind the wheel of the car.
No, he's regretting to say,
Yeah.
I'm going to call the cops.
That's fair.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the regret. Sorry, yeah, I thought that's what we were talking about. But anywho, yeah, I mean the story's pretty straight up. I mean, I guess you're right, like a 5.
It's
has, like-
it's all of the components put together. Kid calls the cops on himself. Bartender did exactly what the bartender should have done. And kid got instant karma. Like all of the things happened in the perfect situation to make this story a 5.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
Like, man. If I had to call you,
Can you imagine seeing those 4 squad cars? Like, I just think of sitting at the riverboat and having a kid walk out, like from the end of the bar, like by the doors, and having a kid walk out and get into his car, and then all of a sudden you see.
You know what scene I'm thinking of in Goonies at the very beginning when he's eating pizza and a milkshake and the chase goes by him. He's like, "Oh my god!" Yeah. I mean,
that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be, like as long as no one got hurt in that situation,
Right? And it doesn't sound like anybody did.
No, he just blew himself up and then eventually probably said, "Fuck me."
Right.
But yeah. I don't know. It's a short story, but it's to the point and it does the job. And yeah,
Moral of the story: do not drink and drive.
Fuck no. Like there are so many options out there, and I get it. There's some small towns or there's no Ubers, there's no cabs, but you should plan not to get that fucked up.
Or walk.
Or
if
walk.
you're in a small town, you can walk.
Right. Well, sometimes those
For the
small
most
town, you
part.
live like fucking 5 miles outside
Yeah,
town.
yeah.
In your fucking house or whatever like that.
It's not necessarily fun to be the DD, but be the DD.
Yep, absolutely.
Take turns. That's
So-
what my friends used to do.
Take turns.
Yeah,
Well, that's what you and I would do when we first started dating that first 6 months. Like, all right, whose turn is it to get trashed tonight?
Right.
So then the other one could be.
Yeah, so we only remember 3 out of the 6 months.
And we remember different days. We remember half. You remember one half. I remember the other half.
Right.
God, that was so fun.
But then it was the catch up afties.
Oh yeah. Zoom right past you. Well, it's great because we live close. Yeah, helped out a lot. So if you have a story similar to this, actually, we want to really fucking hear it or read
we
it.
do.
Like if you've been somewhere, been someone, seen it happen. We do have a subreddit. Do you want to start a tab? Go to the description of this podcast and click on the link.
Oh, look at you go.
I'm trying really hard to be more professional. And
You could just write it.
what?
You could write what you should say in this part, so you could read it like everything
What fucking
else.
fun is that to the listeners? They were like, "Is Carl going to screw up the middle section? Let's see over under or yes or no."
If they take no, it's a bad bet.
But the bigger odds to get the payout. It's
Well,
bigger.
that's true.
Higher risk, higher
That's
reward.
true.
Can't always go for the layup. That's fucking stupid. Or if you like to talk, like we've had a couple of voicemails, 563-277-0072. You can leave up to a 3-minute voicemail. And yeah, we'd love to listen to it and talk about it. I think that's it. It's been so long that I think that's my only shtick for this middle part.
I think so.
All right. I'm going to let you decide what story I'm going to read next.
Who are you going to give me?
An option.
Okay.
Read a story about a restaurant canceling someone's reservation, or a story. Let's see. Hold on. I have it ready. I just have to where a person doesn't like to tell the restaurant that the thing that they're eating and drinking are bad.
Let's do that one, because maybe we can help coach people into doing that.
This is more of a coaching than it is like
it's
a store.
teachable moment.
It's a teachable
Let's use
moment.
this as a teachable moment.
Because that's what we're here for, to teach you what not to do and to do.
Or what to do. Yeah.
So
How to handle the situation appropriately.
So this is in a Facebook group I'm in called Bartending Memes Unfiltered. If you want to see fucking just the craziest, dumbest shit applied.
If you want to hear what your servers really think about you.
Oh, yeah. Go join this fucking group. I tell her stories all the time. It's just like, Jesus Christ. But it's basically just a ranting group. Yeah. So anyways, this was posted 4 days ago. Question time. What would you do if you went out to a nice restaurant who charged a pretty penny for drinks and they made your drink shitty? Like, you're a bartender and you know how it's made. You ask for a new one, still comes back gross. The drink, an old fashioned. They muddled cherries and orange in it in the first time. So
Were you visiting Wisconsin?
yeah, they must be at a fucking supper club. So there was just gunk in the bottom. It was so unpleasant. So then we asked if
It
we
was
can
probably made with brandy.
yeah. So we asked if we can get one without the cherries and orange, and they made it still gross.
Because it was probably made with brandy.
I don't know. We weren't rude about it. Didn't want to make a stink. So when asked, was this better? We said, yeah, a bit better. I hate lying. It tears me up inside. But like, I didn't want to be a jerk. How do you guys make your old fashioned? So
Okay, wait. I know how you handle this situation. Was that what you were gonna say, or were you gonna say something else?
I was going to
Were you gonna answer the question?
I was going to talk about that the muddled cherries and orange is not what makes that old fashioned bad.
Right.
Like, that's not going to change anything. I don't mind if someone does that. because it's whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
It just adds a little bit different
It's
sweetness
a
and
little
fruity
bit
flavor.
something. Yeah.
It's adding the fucking soda water or 7-Up or Squirt or whatever is
Or
what.
it's using the fruit as a sugar substitute, or it's using brandy instead of bourbon, or because brandy old fashions are like awful. I can't stand them.
Yeah. I will only drink them if we go to a supper club in Wisconsin, and we've only been
That's because it's like when in Rome,
When in
kind
Rome.
of thing.
Yeah, like,
but
okay.
like the redneck version.
because they're always like, we make the best one. I go, you make it the fucking same like everyone else.
And you all use what is it? Corbel
Or Christian Brothers.
Christian Brothers.
Yeah.
It's all the same brandy. It's all.
It's crazy because I've had people who live in Wisconsin. I'll make them a Wisconsin old fashioned, and they're like, "This is better than any other." I go because I understand portions, ratios, and whatever else. So, anyways, I'm not here about that. But I highly tell you have to tell these people like it's not
Absolutely.
good because
Well, okay, so let's go back to it.
yeah.
How do you handle this situation? Carl Bush handles it this way. I'm Carl.
I want to hear your Carl voice.
Hey, babe, I really think I want to drink an old fashioned right now. Yeah, that sounds good, but is it going to be good? I don't know. Let me check. Hey, how do you make your old fashioned?
Yep. Are you waiting? Am I supposed to?
No,
Okay.
That's it.
Right.
How do you make your old fashioned? Especially for a classic drink like that, especially with something that has so many variations.
Mm-hmm.
Asking that question can open the door. After you order the first one and you didn't like it, you can ask the question.
Right.
And like you don't have to say this shit fucking sucks even if it does. It might.
Right.
But you can be like, "Hey, this isn't really to my taste. Can you make it this way?"
Right.
Because
I would just order a fucking different drink.
Or that.
Order a drink that's off the cocktail menu. I get it. Like if you tried something and you didn't like it, I'm sure as shit that if you ask for a different way of that, just order something else completely.
right.
Just deal.
But like maybe I can understand like, "Hey, it doesn't taste good.
Right.
Can you remake this?" I understand that because if you really want an old fashioned, you really want an old fashioned, and that's
Right.
fine. But you have to get the facts before you like.
Right. You
if
need
it's,
to know.
if it's made shit,
Right.
it's gonna taste like shit every time.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask,
Right.
and you have to, and it doesn't make you an asshole to want your drink the way you want it.
Right.
People who order a dry martini are very particular about how dry they want it. I had a customer at a restaurant that I worked at. I want a dry vodka martini. I want 3 olives. And when I say dry, I mean I want you to wave the bottle of vermouth over the glass, but don't put any in it.
Right.
Cool. People who drink old fashions and people who drink things that are not martinis can embrace that because it doesn't make you an asshole. It makes you particular. And it's
Right.
okay to be particular as
Right.
long as you communicate it respectfully.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
Asking the question, how do you make your old fashioned?
Because it is kind of a lost art form. Someone said about 50% of the time it's always going to be wrong because it is a lost art form making an old fashioned. Like, and when we talk about old fashioned, we're talking 2 ounces of bourbon, 1/4 ounce of some sort of syrup, 2 dashes to
We're
4
talking
dashes.
about whiskey sugar bitters,
Yeah.
old fashions. We're
Right.
not talking
the
about
blueprint that's been around for fucking ever.
right.
And yeah, you're right. If I am hesitant about the place we're at, I will ask them how they make their old fashioned. What?
Sorry, never mind.
What?
The next episode we record, I'm going to tease it. You should tell your story from last weekend
What was last weekend?
when we went to Dolph's.
Oh my god. Let's just fucking see. What time is it?
We got time.
We got time. Okay.
No. Make it next episode.
Oh, make it next episode.
Teasing it.
Okay,
We gotta-
we're teasing. Okay.
Come back next week.
I'm gonna come back next week too. I'm gonna come on your back. Just like Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian, she got come on her back.
In that video.
Gross.
Girl. Parks and Rec blooper reels. Anyways, okay. So we agree. If the old fashioned is not on the drink menu, ask how it's made, because they're going to list you all the ingredients, and it's not being pretentious. It's because you want to make sure it fits your standard, because people who drink old fashions regularly have a standard of how they should be made. Sometimes there is wiggle room. Like we went to a restaurant with my brother and his wife, and they did a brown butter fat wash, but it was on the menu.
Right.
But if it's not on the menu, you want to know how's the regular old fashioned work, because maybe you don't like that bourbon or rye whiskey that they're using. You want something else.
Yeah, and it's okay to like what you like. It's just not okay to be a dick about it.
Right.
And that's what all of this comes down to is.
So
you're paying people to prepare your foods and drinks. Like ultimately, at the end of the day, it's their job to provide you with the service and the experience that you came here to spend your hard-earned money on.
Yep.
You can ask them to do it the way you like it.
Yep.
Do that.
Yep. So let's move forward, because we can talk about this forever. Let's move forward to about not telling them what you honestly think. I'm a big component of, if it is really that shitty, you need to let them know, because here's what happens. If no one tells them it's that shitty, they're going to keep doing it.
And they're going to keep making drinks the same way they're making
not going to understand that, oh my God, like 50% of the time this drink comes back, why does it come back?
Right. Well, and again, that's where you got it the first time, you didn't like it. You ask questions. And I mean, I am fortunate. I am not a confrontational person. I don't like to ask questions. I don't like to create conflict, or what I view as conflict, even if it isn't. But I have you, who doesn't give any fucks at all. So I can be like, I wonder how this gimlet's made. I bet.
Right.
And you'll ask.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's not a dick move to ask.
No.
It's a dick move to say, this was shit, I don't want to pay for it.
Right.
Like,
if you had, sorry, go ahead.
Like, it is about tone. It is about delivery. And that's the thing that you don't understand. Tone and delivery are extremely important. But at the same time, you're very respectful to people in the service industry, so you don't ever have that issue.
Right.
It's just like, you know what? It might really fucking suck. And the food that you ordered the steak you ordered might be too rare, or it might be over temp. You can say it's wrong. You can be like, hey, I ordered mid rare, but this is
medium well.
This is well.
Yeah.
Can you please refire it?
Yep.
Obviously, you wouldn't use the word refire. That's that's industry.
We're gonna go backwards on this. Okay, put it in the cooler, guys. Put it in the freezer.
Right. Can you please
cook a new one?
Cook a new one.
I think
that's okay, because you're paying, especially with the steak, and especially with the cocktail. If you're paying premium prices, you're paying good money. Some people, like some cocktail bars, charge more for one cocktail than a lot of people make per hour.
Right.
You can ask for something you like.
And see, and that's a good point, because if you ask for it again, it's not going to kill that restaurant or bar to remake it, because it's usually a 5x, like...
There's a markup.
It'll probably cost them $2 to $3 to remake that drink. And they should be okay with doing that, because they want to make sure that customer gets the right thing. Because sometimes that bartender's distracted. I've been distracted, and you make something wrong. I put the wrong fucking ingredient because I'm making fucking 5 drinks and I just accidentally put something in. Cool. Tell me. I'm more than happy to remake it. I don't fucking care. I want you to enjoy the shit.
Right.
When you're paying
if your bartender doesn't, they're a dick.
Yeah.
And I generally don't agree with like the idea of not tipping, but if your bartender's a dick to you, don't tip.
Yeah.
If they're a dick because you didn't like the drink that they made and you ask them to make something that you enjoy, they didn't do their job.
I like telling people, like, why do you think when you go out to eat and there's a bad experience, obviously maybe they'll take, if it's super shitty, they'll comp the meal, whatever. But if we're like, this or that, and they're like, all right, let me buy you a beer. Let me get you a glass of wine. Here, let me get you 2 more drinks. Do you know why they fucking do that?
Because the booze markup is better than the food markup.
Exactly. It is because it takes one person to make that drink. You know how many people it takes to fucking cook that fucking burger or entree that you did? There's like 4 people's hands tied to that fucking thing.
On the same note, like getting off and you're like, so let's say you got what you ordered and it was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
After you realize it's wrong, stop consuming it.
Right.
And tell your person it's wrong.
Don't drink half of it. Once you drink half of it or eat half of it, you're done.
Or don't eat all of it.
Well, that too, but like maybe take
that sucked.
Maybe take 2 or 3.
You drank it, yeah. So if you drank all of it obviously didn't suck enough for you to not drink it.
And I also understand there's a difference between I don't like that because it just doesn't fit my palate,
right?
But then there's also this is made awful. Something's off. Something's different. Like sometimes you just have to fucking suck it up and drink the drink or eat the food that you order because like it's made well.
Like there was a time that I ordered a cocktail that had maraschino liqueur in it. And I, at the time, was not familiar with what maraschino liqueur was. And I didn't like it. Yeah. But I drank it because that's what the drink was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. However, that being said, the muddled cherry and the orange leads me to believe that that's not what an old-fashioned was supposed to be in your mind and also everybody else outside of Wisconsin's mind. So...
But here's my also problem. They say that they're a bartender. Mm-hmm. So they should already know that the muddled cherry and orange is not the fucking problem in that drink.
Right.
Like you should already know that's not the problem. Like,
you're right, but if a bartender is so broad,
right?
You can bartend events and never see an old fashioned leave.
But when you put it in your statement that's saying they're basically trying to validate that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you say that though, like.
But when you go to think about it. You and we go to a high end restaurant.
Yeah.
And you order a cocktail that you're extremely familiar with. Like let's say you order a paper plane, and it tastes wrong. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be like, have I been making this wrong? Because it's such a simple drink. Right. That you're like, what the fuck? But you're right. But you're like, hey, listen, like I just need somebody else to tell me what the specs on this drink are because I need you to tell me that I'm not wrong in thinking that this was wrong.
Right. No, I get that. I guess I get that. I don't know. I just feel like when you say you're a bartender,
I love your I statements. Sorry.
What?
Continue.
Okay. I just feel like you're validating that you know what the fuck you're talking about, but then you go around and saying, well, it's got to be the cherries and the orange that made this drink shitty. No, that's not the fucking shitty part. But you're right earlier when you said after you don't like it, like, how do you guys make it old fashioned?
But they did the scientific process, right? They did it. The first time they said that they ordered it and it had the muddled cherries and oranges, and then they ordered it again without them. And it was still bad?
Because that's what I'm saying. Their palate doesn't understand. They don't understand their palate and understand what's in that drink is making it bad.
But they probably work at a dive bar.
Right.
But still, it's like...
Yeah.
They did the right thing by like, hey, this is not what I'm used to. This is not what I'm familiar with as an old fashioned.
Right.
Not all bartenders are going to be able to like isolate one component.
Yeah.
That makes the drink bad. That takes years of experience, and maybe this person only has 2.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because if you get so used to making an old fashioned one way, you start to question if your way is right when you order it somewhere else and it doesn't taste right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I get it. It is uncomfortable to tell someone I didn't like this because we've all seen waiting. We've all seen this shit where like I don't want to fuck with people who fuck with my food, but it's also like, look, there's a difference between nicely saying like, look, I don't know what about this drink is. I just don't like it how you guys are making it.
Right.
Cool.
But then again, that's where you open up. You ask a question.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like at this point, we're just talking now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're moving to the point of just saying I don't like it. You're not being rude because you can be rude when you do this. But if you just, like, look, I don't know about this drink. Maybe it's just not for me. How you guys make it, it's just not for me. But man, it just doesn't seem correct compared to the other things I've drank.
And I don't think you even have to say that.
Right.
Like, you could have stopped with, this drink is not for me.
Right.
I don't enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I am familiar with the concept of an old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
This does not taste like an old fashioned that I prefer.
Right. Because
Can I please order something else?
Yep. No, for sure. Sorry.
And most people will be like, yeah, cool. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're taking up time from them if you continue to talk.
Right.
And if you continue to request something different. Like, nah, just tell me what you want. I'll go make it, and then I'll be back to doing my tickets, doing my shit. Like, nobody cares.
And maybe this is like a newer bartender and doesn't know that they are fucking it up. Because maybe they just, maybe they're using, I don't know what I could say right
Brandy?
now. Whatever. But
right.
whatever it is, like they're using something different.
Right.
Because in their mind, this is what I remember. Maybe they're just using gin. I mean, I know it's not gin, but you know what I'm saying? Like they're just using something completely different that's not what it is.
The drink we just finished, when you were testing it on different types of bourbon and you used Woodford Reserve, which we both enjoy, it was awful.
Woodford Reserve double oaked.
Yeah, it was awful.
It was awful. But we love that bourbon by itself. We drink the shit out of it.
And we love it in other things. Maybe it's just not for you. Maybe it's just not your preference. So like ask questions and be curious, not judgmental.
Right.
Ted Lasso. Like just if you feel the need, if you're in any situation in life, not necessarily in a restaurant, but in a restaurant this applies, ask questions. Don't immediately assume they're shit.
Yeah. Because asking questions leaves it's less defensive or it's less aggressive because like, hey, I'm just curious, how do you guys make this? Because then they're going to either, if the server doesn't know, they're going to go ask the bartender, how did you make this? Blah, 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 and find out. And then it helps you on your side to get the point across. So whatever happens, right?
And if you approach the situation with respect, and dignity on all people's parts, if they are mad at you, that's a them problem.
Yeah. What also is interesting is some people don't understand is when they said we're at a nice restaurant, they charged a pretty penny. Do you know what those restaurants do? They go out of their way to make sure you have a fucking exceptional.
Yeah, the more money, exceptional. The more money that you spend on your restaurant, the more willing they are to work with you.
Because they understand, you're out here, you're gonna spend $200, $300, $400 with us. We want to make sure you're the happiest motherfucker out there.
Because at that point, the more you spend at a restaurant, the more time they want you to spend with them.
Yeah. Or come back.
And come back because you're creating loyalty and like
just a rapport with them.
Rapport. Yes.
Woohoo! I said a word that you were thinking of this time.
You said rapport. It's rapport. Either way.
You just take away my fucking thunder any way you can. You just rip it out.
Yes, you're building a relationship with that restaurant. The more you spend on your food or your drinks, the more that restaurant wants you to.
The detail to everything is going to be on point.
The more that they will pay attention.
Yeah.
In theory.
In theory. And I'm not dismissing other bars and restaurants that don't. Because they all want to, but sometimes they'll go out of the way to make sure you are more than happy.
Right. But it's also because they're probably serving less tops. Plus, they're serving less people in a night.
Right.
Because if you go to a sports bar that serves you $6 chicken wings, you're getting $6 chicken wings.
Where the fuck are we going for $6 chicken wings?
You get 3.
That's like 1996.
You get 3.
But I think everyone gets where we're coming with all these points. It's like, don't be afraid to speak up. Do it in a respectful way. If the server snaps on you because you're saying something that they might not like,
they're a bad server.
So then go walk up to the bartender.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they'll just tell you. They don't fucking care for the most part. Because like, look, this is how I make it.
Right.
Oh, cool. I don't like that one green. Fine, let's go. Move on. Like, look, what can I do for you?
Right.
You know, and most managers.
What can I do to get you to shut up and get away from my bar so I can keep making
That is
drinks?
what I said. I said the politically correct way of saying that. But there's really no rating for this because it's not a story. This is a teachable moment.
No, I think we can rate this.
Okay. Let's rate it. Okay,
no, because we can rate the OP's actions. This is a 2. I was
gonna say 1.5, but yeah.
Yeah, I've had so many people, it's good, it's fine, it's okay. And like I've been that person. Like it's shit, but most of the time if I think it's shit, it's because I ordered wrong.
Right.
But like
When people say it's fine, it's good, that is the nicest way of saying it's mediocre at best.
Yeah, it does the job and it does nothing more than that.
I say this all the time, and I wish I don't sometimes, but honestly, I'm just like, I'm not in the mood to fucking, it's fine, I'll eat it and I'll deal with it, whatever. But like fine and good, like I tell people like, no, those are like, that's good that people say that. I'm like, no. What if your wife or girlfriend said something or like, how do I look? And you're like, that's fine. Like they're going to be like heartbroken or sad that's all you like, I just look fine.
Right.
I mean, obviously there's like, you look fine. You know, that's different.
But right.
You look good. You look good.
It's tone.
Right. Yeah.
Like you look good.
Yeah. But it's usually when you go eat, someone asks you how it is and you're like, it's good. Like
you know. Your server knows that you're not happy.
And then I try to figure out what didn't they like. And I'll ask more questions like, is there something like that wasn't amazing for you? And they tell you.
Or like even when I worked at a busy Mexican restaurant. It's fine. Oh, hey, do you need more salsa or what? Another margarita? Can I get you something else to make this experience great?
Right. Our cat is laying in my camera bag.
That's adorable. I'm going to snap a picture because we can put it on the...
So yeah, I agree. This is like a 152. Don't be afraid to talk. Use your words. Just be respectful. Don't be tonish and a dick, even though I know I am sometimes. But
don't be a dick.
Tip your bartenders and drink responsibly.